Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we're gonna do a detailed review of the latest smartphone from Moto under the Moto G series, the Moto G 5G. So Moto G 5G is one of the cheapest 5G enabled smartphone in India. While 5G is yet to pick up or rather launch in India, few brands have started launching 5G devices. We had the OnePlus devices coming with 5G. Now we had OnePlus Nord, Vivo V20 Pro. Now we also have the Moto G 5G coming with the 5G support. And this is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 750G octa-core processor, and this is probably the cheapest 5G smartphone available in India, and this is priced 28,999. So how good is the device and is it really value for money? That's what we are going to talk about in this video. So if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's get back to the review. So first let's have a look at the design and build quality. Now if you look at the back panel design, you can see that this is kind of a different design when you look at the Moto devices. We have the kind of squarish camera unit with triple camera setup, and the flash is also integrated into that. Now we also have the fingerprint scanner, the Moto logo. And the fingerprint scanner nowadays most of the smartphones are including the fingerprint scanner on the side or the power button, but Moto has gone in for a traditional layout, the back panel layout. Now if you look at the front panel design, again you can see this is a punch hole camera which has quite good looking design. You can see that the front panel design also looks quite good. The punch hole is located on the center, and the bezels are kind of minimal, although the bottom bezel is slightly on the higher side, but still we feel this is quite a good looking smartphone out there. Now the thing about Moto devices is that most of them are kind of thicker devices. Here again you can see that the device is slightly on the thicker side compared to other smartphones in this price segment, and slightly heavier as well. So even the Moto One Fusion Plus also had this kind of thicker and slightly bulkier design. But here also we feel it's quite a good design overall. It may not be as bulky as the Moto One Fusion Plus, but then this is quite a good looking smartphone. Now it may not be the best out there in terms of looks, but it's still a decent looker in terms of design aspect. Now the build quality, this is made of polycarbonate material, and it is sturdy in our almost 2 weeks of usage. We haven't seen any sort of issues happening, no scratches, and this is kind of good build quality as such. Now overall it feels quite sturdy as well, even though it's a polycarbonate material. Next let's move on to the display. Now this device comes with a 6.7 inches LTPS IPS LCD panel with HDR10 support. Now many of you might be thinking we have devices in this price segment with AMOLED displays. Yes, there are a lot of devices with the AMOLED display. Now the display panel definitely looks good. It may not be the brightest out there, but the brightness levels are quite good. The viewing angles are also kind of okay, and the touch response feels very smooth overall. Now this display has HDR10 enabled support, so even with the larger display, watching movies is definitely good, but it may not be as good as some of the AMOLED panels in this price segment. So overall we feel display is quite good for the price segment it is being offered. Next let's talk about the software. Now this device comes with Android 10 out of the box, and this is a stock Android. Now if you have used a Moto device previously, you might be knowing that Motorola uses the stock Android. It's not under the Android One platform, but still Motorola uses the stock Android. Along with that you also get the Moto App. That's advantage. Now this is stock Android, and you don't see any third-party apps included here other than the ones we installed, but it's very stock UI. And even if you look at the settings panel, it's more or less stock Android. You can see that this is the settings panel, and it looks more or less stock Android. And Motorola is also offering 2 years of updates and security patches, which is again quite good. So if Motorola is able to provide updates, then this is definitely a good move from the company. Now this device has a pretty good software experience. Then you also get the Moto app. So this app actually brings in some additional options like customization. Then you can see that some gestures are supported, styles, layout, my UX support. Then you can also see that the attentive display screenshot toolkit, and you can also see some additional media control options are there. So this is the Moto app which provides some additional options. So you can see that you can do a bit of customization in fact with this display, or rather the software. So Moto offers some additional tools on top of the stock Android experience, which brings in some additionally really useful features. Now talking about the performance side, so this is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 750G octa-core processor. Now this is a new chipset. We have showed the benchmark score in our gaming test. Now in terms of day-to-day experience, you can see the benchmark score here. This is the CPU score, GPU score, memory and the UX score. So overall it's quite comparable to the Snapdragon 765G in terms of the raw benchmark score. Even in terms of gaming experience, we felt that the device is really capable, does a pretty good job, no heating issues, and the overall graphic quality may not be the highest out there, but it provides some decent experience and no lags whatsoever in terms of gaming experience. Even in terms of day-to-day experience, we felt that the experience of using the device was very smooth. Again, the Snapdragon 750G does a pretty good job overall, and overall experience was again really good. So that's the software experience. Now the call quality was good, and we did not see any sort of signal issues here. There is voice over Wi-Fi support, and voltage is also included, and we have done an FAQ video on the 5G band support. So here is again a list of 5G bands which are supported by Motorola in India. You can also check out our detailed FAQ video to get an idea about the device in detail. Now the fingerprint scanner experience is quite good. In fact, you can see that we have also done a fingerprint scanner test. Yes, it may not be the fastest out there. You can see that it is kind of slightly slow to pick up, but then it does quite good job. It's more or less accurate. Even the face unlock is kind of okay-ish performance when you compare with other smartphones in this price segment. Next, let's move on to the camera. So this device has a triple camera setup. It has a 48 megapixel primary sensor, then we have an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle lens and a 2 megapixel macro sensor, and on the front panel you get a 16 megapixel punch hole selfie camera. So we have done a detailed camera review of this device. When we tested, we found that the daylight captures were quite good, and good details being offered, good sharpness levels, and colors were more or less natural. And even when you zoom in, there isn't any loss of clarity as such, but so it definitely looks good in terms of daylight captures. Now the ultra wide angle camera also came out quite well. The colors were retained pretty well, although the sharpness levels were not as good as the primary, still was able to retain pretty good. Now the close-up shots also came out quite well, although we did have some issue in focusing in the macro samples. It was kind of an issue with focusing, which should be able to be fixed with software updates. And the portraits were again really good, and the edge detection was something which was really impressive. Now low light conditions, the phone performed quite well, although we feel there is still room for improvement, considering that this is a 21,000 device. We feel the night mode, especially with exposure issues and high noise, should be fixed with software updates. And the selfie experience overall was kind of good, and we did test with the video sample where we found that the videos were kind of above average experience. Again, there is room for improvement. So overall, as a camera smartphone, we feel Moto has done a quite good job, but still there are some areas for improvement, especially the low light and video recording qualities. Now finally, the battery life. So this device comes with a 5000 mAh capacity battery, and the battery life is really good on this device. We could get like around 7 to 8 hours of battery life easily on this device, which isn't very stellar actually, but again battery life depends upon person to person, and it may not be the same screen on time you might get what I got, because the apps running are different. So I got around 7 to 8 hours, which is again really good for this device, although some devices do get around 8 to 9 hours. Again, this isn't bad, but it's kind of good experience overall is what we feel. Then in terms of charging experience, it comes with only a 20 watt charger. So the charging time is slightly on the higher side, around 2 hours 15 minutes, which is slightly on the higher side for a 21,000 price device. We feel Moto should have gone with a slightly better charger on this device. So now summing up, how good is the Moto G 5G for 21,000 price segment? Now if you are looking for a smartphone which is kind of future proof for at least 2 years down the lane with software updates, 5G support, decent set of cameras, good experience overall, then the Moto G 5G is definitely a good device to buy, because it has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 750G, which is a really good chipset. 5G support is there, cameras are good, battery life is good, software experience is good, then you also get 2 years of updates that promised by Moto. So overall it's a good package, but there are still areas of improvement, like we would have definitely liked a better display, probably an AMOLED display, but not a complaint as such, but display could have been AMOLED, but again, considering the 5G support, that's where probably the cost cutting has happened. That's why we are getting an HDR10 LTPS display. Now other aspect is slightly better camera performance and also better charging. The 20-watt charger is insufficient. In fact, it's kind of slow at this price segment, around 2 hours 15 minutes is slightly slower is what we feel. So those are the pros and cons of the Moto G 5G. And this is definitely a good offering at a 20,999 price segment. So if you're looking for a 5G enabled smartphone, definitely the cheaper one out there and a decent device to buy in this price segment. So that is a detailed review of the Moto G 5G. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the red subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.